May I invite Dr. Vijay Oza sir, who is our chief guest, for the next talk, which is a star talk on NMC guidelines for industry development. No, no, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
This is what this is working. At the outset, I thank uh, Mahesh Bhai, Sabdesh, and team MPUH for inviting me. An excellent hospital. The topic which I have been given is professional conduct in by a registered medical practitioner. I have not been in an ethics board. There are 4 boards in NMC: postgraduate board, assessment board, which deals with all inspection, etc. Then undergraduate board and ethics and registration. So there are 4 boards and 4 different things. I was not into the ethics board. But when the regulations were made, I was part of it because all the members of the NMC are making the regulations. So we had a lot of debates, and the new regulations were formed in 2023. Before that, we were following 2002 ethics regulation of Medical Council of India. There are a lot of similarities in things, but in this 2023 regulations, they had gone a little further and defined some of the things in more detail, which has created some confusion and some uproar in the industries and our medical fraternity also. And temporarily it was kept in abeyance. However, how much legally it is in abeyance is still in doubt. Because once registration, advanced regulation is made and gazetted, then it is in the parliament. But then some of the procedures were not yet completed, so this can be kept in abeyance, but it can be challenged also. Now, the previous regulation was in that there are 2 issues which are there in the industrial participation for the medical fraternity. One is the hospitality, gifts, etc. And second is the prescription. So these are 2 issues which I am going to talk. These are the main things. Other than that, they are not industrial. A lot of things we discussed about in the past about other issues of the ethics, but these are the 2 things which are related to industry. In previous regulation also, it was very clear that no pharmaceutical company can give gift, receive or solicit any gift, no doctor shall not receive or solicit, etc. Gratuity consideration. This much only was there. Current regulation has very clearly said hospitality, etc., etc., including commercial healthcare establishments and medical device companies, corporate hospitals, all the things were included in the second regulation. This was a little more clarity about the things remain. The things are same actually. Basic concept is there that you should. Basic concept about behind all these things is the conflict of interest. And the conflict of interest as its hitoka takra. It is a genesis from again constitution. So when we are going to attend a conference, it is not just we are spectators. It's a meeting. And is going to decide about a lot of policies of the practice. And here, if you are sponsored by a pharmaceutical company to go there and attend those things, obviously your policy may be determined by your personal, or there is a conflict about in your personal interest in policy. And that is why none of the scientific or any of the things also. We say why scientific, we are going to discuss science, but then a lot of science has also a lot of loopholes. So cannot be accepted. We will have to gradually change our mindset and stop accepting this hospitality. Still, it is largely being practiced. But I am sure that 99% of us are going to leave behind some 8-10 crores. Out of that, if all end up in spending 5 lakhs rupees only in your life. Better not to do this, which will increase the moral standard and value of our country also. So, future, we will have to stop taking any hospitality for traveling, stay, transport, local, this, regard. There are a lot of ways probably which is out of this contest. But now the scientific societies also may have to even change. There should be a registration-free conference. And then other hospitality part may be charged. Somebody doesn't want hospitality, he may not have hospitality. There should be a registration fee. Our bodies are becoming richer, so those things also can be done. There is a secondary thing. So this is what is going to take place. Now, since this regulation has been made and it has been kept in abeyance, we are now going to review it. Few days back only I was discussing with Professor B.N. Gadadhar, who is chairman right now. He was ex-director of NIMHAS. And then we have decided to take up the review of the things. Both me and him concepts are very clear. Any sponsorship to the institutes or the society, no problem. Because that is not an individual thing. So conference, any industry can sponsor anything to the institutes or the registered society, because they are society, all accounts are accounted. But individual things will never be accepted. So this is regarding the pharmaceutical company. This was more detailed. What is it? Even seminar, workshops, symposia, conference, etc. They are written in more detail. We had a member in the ethics board who was a forensic science professor. So obviously he has absolutely real way here. We may edit it. So here the another thing is that this is the second thing about the thing where in this professional conduct regulation 23 we have not mentioned much. In the previous regulation there was detail about the commission. What we say commission. That commissioning thing was there. Any separation of fee directly, indirectly. All the things should not be there. So they're all clearly written in legal language that no way you can accept any way. They may say that your professional charges, but no. There anything which is a separation of fee and that it cannot be accepted. No such. So either you have to take directly under that heading that bill, otherwise not. So that is clear about it. Now another thing is that prescription of the drug. That is another biggest thing which is going to be difficult for many of us. Now with the modern things, everyone has got a prescription, modern computerized prescription thing, so it will be easy. There are 3 types of way the drugs are named. One is a chemical name, another is a generic name, and another is a brand name or patent. So chemical name, for example, acetaminophen. Generic name is paracetamol, and the patent name is Dolo or Calpol. Now, why is the medical council is insisting that you should write the generic name and not the patent name? One should not misunderstand that the idea behind is not that any philanthropy. It's a scientific reason. Philanthropy means we don't want that our people should get cheaper because generic. Not necessary. Generic also may be costly. So it is not necessary. That idea is not there. Idea is absolutely scientific. If one writes a prescription, he may go to any other part of the country, that person, other doctor should also able to know. You can write the name paracetamol into bracket Dolo. There is no restriction about it. You can write. Paracetamol should be there. Because there are thousands of medicines all over the world. And which are, we are facing day-to-day problem. That the doctor has written, the cardiologist has written so many things. And then we have to sometimes verify the thing. But now that thing is not correct thing. Should be then, we should have taken extra trouble, write the generic name, and then you can write the brand. The brand name writing is not prevented. Our regulation will say that generic name has to be written. We are not going to mention that brand name should not be written, brand name should be written out. Generic name should be written. So this is the scientific background behind that, and that is why we are going to insist on that. How much it will be implemented is also a question, because unless we don't have mechanism right now to do any spot checking, etc. Unless we have a complaint, we do not act right now as national body. But once complaint occurs, it will happen because more and more competitions and all the things to complaints will occur. So better why not? These are simpler measures, and it has a scientific reason. It is not that we are making cheaper. So that's two things which I have to discuss. Thank you very much. I don't have to add anything.
There are people who you will reach for
That I said, no? Commission. I said.
commission is from market.
Yeah, that is, no. Commission, that regulation I said, this is extra added. Any kind of separation, partition of fee or anything is also not, that legal terms is there. That one of the,
You want clarification because a lot of misconceptions are there about this topic. The idea of this comes to us. That quite often it said that if you organize a conference and if there are few faculties which are there, then it is allowed. What is the conception or what is even realistic of it? We just want to clarify.
yes. So,
Faculty, if you are faculty, yes, you can take this concept, you can sponsor the certain number of faculties. Whether it is right or it is wrong.
they can give you the money. And you, in your expense, you will pay for them. They cannot say that we will take care of it. Totally. That I told from beginning. Individual, this is a conflict of it.
No, the question is not what you are saying. That association give money to association and association has sponsor or
Whatever way they want to explain.
now there is a problem. There is a problem because association cannot spend all the funds. So there is a restriction. If you are providing money, how can you reach out the number I want? That is charitable society cannot give some money or charges to or charging person. That's already from the fund. It was not possible for the USI to give that money to a charging person because as a charitable body it is not allowed. And therefore we have to form a separate society where it will have efficiency of separate society and therefore we are now able to do that. Now whether if the money comes to Urology Society of India, now whether Urology Society of India can give that money, spend that money on the XYZ number 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, 200 people, how will it choose and how it is regulated by the NMC or NMC out of picture in their different English?
No, there is no regulation.
We are not the Chinese
There is no regulation required. If a society has goal, promotion of medical education, science, etc. And then under one of the goal it should justify because the society is being audited. And then it should justify that by following certain for this thing is going to have, because it's going to talk on this thing, person, etc. That's all. Sometimes
it is not actually true from pharmacological because when we discuss with them, they say that okay now you are invited because this is what is the product and this is what is the education or this is what is the promotion, this is what is the business and therefore we are officially allowed to sponsor your travel and say because you are working for the pharmacological company for development of their products or for the exports. And this is the focus on that product. So that is on that basis they are all on the doing.
So it's very simple that he can give X amount of money to the organization body.
Yeah, but organization is not in the picture at all. The pharmacological company is sponsor.
There is not there.
They are sponsored because it is there It is from their business point of view they are doing it. It is not for conference of the. Now, say for example, if zero practice is going on, now some XYZ pharmaceutical will say that we have also meetings. And these are the people who are actually coming and they are taking part of in our own meeting to give the feedback and insight for their development of their products and this. These are the eminent people and therefore we have called the here and we have given them the travel and the sponsorship and the hotels too. Now is that allowed? Yeah. That is what is allowed.
To the scientific program, the pharmaceutical companies organize. And pharmaceutical companies, based on their scientific, their own agenda, they allow you, they call you for any talk or anything, and you are not taking any other than personal, other than monitoring it, then people are taking.
So that is what I think.
You are not taking,
So
if he is charging you 40,000 rupees for just talking on the diabetes medicine, particular diabetes medicine, and then that's only there, then it is a conflict of.
So for the pharmacological standalone meeting, NMC does not make any objection.
As long as there is no conflict.
Two things. Number one thing is, for example, the this program is very all of the facilities are sponsored. I sponsor for example, this company. But if I'm money to somebody or a religious society, so they are not money through the account, they are paying to fight us only, we can be outside. We are by 2 days, but they are reasonable. If you have 100 tools, they will complete monthly and continue. So there is no middle to say anymore. This guy is correct.
Doing very well.
We take a money from pharma society, we pay the pharma at all. What is that? Afford meeting will see a if you're not like here, company, I might. It's on the table.
If the companies give money to the societies, especially if it's Urological Society of India, it is registered under Section 12A and it's charitable society. We have an objectives on which we work for the Urological Society of India. So you are expected to spend that money only on those objectives. And those objectives will not allow any money to be spent on its members for any reason. So the Urological Society of India, if it takes the money from anybody, it cannot spend on the accommodation travel of its members. Even in the guise of the conference or whatever you want to do, it cannot show on its accounts that I have spent this much amount of money on travel or accommodation of the members. It is only allowed for the faculty under the UPMC Act, that is the Pharmaceutical Act. In that they have detailed that it cannot exceed 10% of the delegates which are registered for the faculty cannot exceed 10% of the number of delegates. So you can, if it is 1000 people, you can consider only 100 people as faculty. So the society can spend on these 100 people because they are faculty and they are coming to the. On your accounts, you cannot show that the society has spent on the delegates for travel, accommodation, food, for anything. You can only take the money which is spent by the registration money which you have collected, you can show for the food, all those things, but you cannot show on from the money which is collected for travel accommodation. You cannot show that. You cannot show that.
So see, as far as NMC is concerned, we have this much regulation. There are a lot of other regulations which govern. That is, that's why I told Society Act is there.
This problem comes because we needed lots of information and this problem came and we are very clear about it. That agency is not problem. Once the money is given by pharmaceutical company to Urology Society of India, there is no problem. Agency is out of picture. Now it's a charitable commission which will come into the picture and recent regulation of that will come into the picture. Then it is very clear that individual person sponsorship is not allowed by IOCA or Vision or any charitable institute, and that's the reason even benevolent camp was not allowed because it is directly giving money to a XYZ person, whether he died, whether he did. It was not allowed. Therefore, we have to form a separate fund, society, separate section, In that it is allowed. So, urology association will definitely start doing. But now what is being done is that there are other organizations which come into the picture, and third parties, the pharmaceutical companies, they give to third parties. Third party does everything, and that is where the problem comes in. And that is under the inquiry. That is under inquiry.
These are not giving it to the third parties now because their pharmaceutical act does not allow that to happen. So there also the third party cannot show that I have spent on accommodation.
But let me ask you.
So what?
You and Dr. Vijay also, we know that all these regulations are there, but without any hit, it is done every day in and day out. How it is done?
So there are ways of doing that, sir. What we have tried to devise is that we give the conference to a professional conference organizer. The event manager. The
Registration is done by the USI central office. So the central office will manage the registration.
The other things like the trade, all those things are looked after by the event management company.
You as a society, you can spend on the trade organization also. So event management is going to charge us as the event management fee for this conference, which he will show money given to the trade. He will put up the trade. He will say, I have hired this place. The cost is much. So he is not going to show cost of accommodation, all those things in the receipt which he gives it to the Urological Society of India. So we are very clear about it. We will not say the bills of the accommodation and plan. So he is going to show that for organizing this conference, what happened.
So, NMC is out of picture in this, isn't it?
Yeah. So things are very clear. If whether he gives to you give to some third party or you do yourself, it's same. So, the pharmaceutical industry gives you money and what way you want to spend to justify your society act. Then as far as that much is there, then you can do anything. That is all. Now one thing we will have to change. Yeah. One thing we will have to change is our mindset. We have to spend for our conferences. This is a small thing, and let us do that instead of all the years fighting that missing that thing. Obviously, we are giving a lot of concessions to the students, etc. So those things can be done. Some more concessions can be added to first 5 years of urology practice, etc. Let us do something better rather than continue to ask for these kind of things with pharmacy, because this is definitely not in the constitution. And no, if you are there in the opposite side, obviously you will make this thing. I don't say that I also have not taken this kind of a thing once in a while. But then once I realized that it is not right, I have stopped doing that. So that is what. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.